All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Adam Bosch, and I help to manage research and innovation programs for the New York City water supply system. I'm going to start today by introducing the Department of Environmental Protection. I think you know us well. When you drink water at home, that's us. When you flush the toilet, that's us. When you shower, that's us. All of that is us. We are the largest combined water and wastewater utility in the United States. In addition to the things that I just mentioned, we also manage stormwater and manage programs to reduce air noise and hazardous materials pollution. And really, the work that we do, if I had to sum it up, is meant to protect both public health and environmental health. So we're responsible for the city's drinking water system. As many of you may know, it's the largest unfiltered water supply in the world. It is a marvel of modern engineering that brings water as far away from 120 miles to here in the city, some of the best water on planet Earth. We also manage the city's coastal resiliency, stormwater, wastewater. We deliver 1 billion gallons of drinking water to you every day, including 72 communities north of the city who are also connected to our system. We manage the 19 reservoirs that are spread across a 2,000 square mile watershed up in the Hudson Valley and Catskills that provide that water to you. We manage the 14 wastewater treatment plants that clean that water and bring it back to the environment, have the best harbor water quality in 150 years as the result of the good work of the folks at DEP. And we manage 7,000 miles of water mains and 7,000 miles of sewage mains. Next slide, please. I'm going to be talking to you about 3 pitches, so you're stuck with me for a total of 6 minutes. The first one I'm going to be sharing is something that we want to be doing to evaluate methods for assessing water quality return on investment. As I mentioned in my introduction, we are the largest unfiltered water supply in the world. And one of the things that we have to do to remain unfiltered is we run a lot of programs to protect the quality of water at its source in the Hudson Valley and in the Catskills. Our success in doing that has allowed us to remain unfiltered for 184 years. Our protection programs in the watershed really have to start evolving with our most consequential risks, which are connected to things like climate change and evolving regulations. And therefore, we're really trying to seek out a partner who can help us quantify the return on investment of different programs that we both fund and administer to protect the quality of water at its source. This is very, very easy for us to do when we have point sources. So if we upgrade a wastewater treatment plant, we can see what the quality of water was before and after that upgrade. But this is much, much more difficult for us to do for diffuse sources of pollution. So if we replace septic systems, or we work with farmers, or we do stream management programs, it's much more difficult for us to quantify the effects of that work. And that's really what we're seeking help with through this pitch. So what returns on investments can we model accurately enough to guide program effectiveness? We're really looking for a list of modeling approaches and data requirements to assess water quality return on investment. We can offer staff time with expertise in biophysical economics and water quality modeling, inventories of source water protection programs, and we probably have more data than any water supply in human history. And we can offer that to you to work with. We're seeking folks who can guide our investigation, that have expertise in water quality return on investment and modeling. If that's you, we hope you'll take interest in this project. Next one, please. Of course, we're also very, very interested in maintaining high quality drinking water throughout our system. And one of the things that we need to really start doing is understanding the sources of natural organic matter that are coming into our reservoirs. When natural organic matter interacts with chlorine, which is something we use to disinfect the water, it creates certain compounds that are regulated. And so for us to understand the formation of these compounds better, we have to start at square one, which is understanding the sources of that natural organic matter. So this is really meant to enhance our operations. We want to understand the transport and the mechanisms of these precursors at a watershed scale. So for this one, the question is, can we use remote sensing technology to identify hotspots for disinfection byproduct precursors in the city watersheds? Can we install sensors to understand where the greatest quantity of natural organic matter is coming from and what the sources are, what the fate and transport of that is? We're looking for a decision support tool to quantify DBP precursors to inform future investments in source water protection. If we're going to choose where we're protecting and what we're trying to protect against, we need to know where it is and what quantity it's coming in. We can offer agency staff time. Again, we have an unbelievable amount of water quality data, something like 60 million data points going back 30 years, including LIDAR, derived topography, modeling, and coordination with related organizations that we partner with. And we're seeking folks with expertise in the application of remote sensing data sets for the purposes of terrestrial and aquatic systems modeling regarding carbon stock in the watershed and in the water column. So the full depth up and throughout the reservoir. Some of our reservoirs are as deep as 160 feet. So we really need to understand the water column as well. Next. All right, here's a good one. I drove 3.5 hours to get here today. Guess what you find when you drive 3.5 hours outside the city? Cows. Okay. So when you drive 3.5 hours outside the city, we have lots and lots and lots of farms. Okay. And this may surprise you, but here at DEP, we have one of the world's most advanced programs to work with the farmers in the watershed that surrounds our reservoirs to do two things: improve their farm operations, but improve their farm operations in a way that also improves the quality of runoff coming off their farms into local streams, creeks, and rivers that feed our reservoirs. We have really been great at this since 1993 when we brokered a very unique partnership with these farmers. And since then, we've installed things like calf barns and manure sheds and natural buffers to these streams. And we've seen a great improvement in the water quality. But here's the conundrum. We can't measure how great those outcomes have been. Because again, these are diffuse sources of potential pollution, things like turbidity and bacteria and pathogens. We know we've done great. We need to understand how great, right? So the question here is, how can DEP and our friends at the Watershed Agricultural Council better estimate these best management practices that we've installed, right? How can we better quantify using practical proxies and outcome-oriented metrics, including consideration of pollutant load estimation tools and demonstration sites as tools? We need to figure out a metric framework, a tool review, data needs, prototyping, and report recommendations. We have staff that we can offer to someone who would like to partner with on this. We have lots of data on all these best management practices, which are both physical structures and operational changes on farms that we can provide. We have water quality data. We have watershed and planning data sets. And we're looking for folks who have some expertise in watershed modeling, best management practice evaluation, GIS, and environmental data science. Again, I'll just share, we host a lot of international visitors in our watershed. The number one reason other countries come to us is because we are the best in the world at solving this challenge of agricultural runoff. We'd like you to be a partner in helping us continue to be the best in the world at that. So I'm going to step off the stage and say thank you very much. I'm also going to say go Knicks.
All right. Hey, everyone. Andrew Fuse from DEP. I'm part of the green infrastructure team at DEP. Unlike Adam, I didn't pass any cows today on my way here. My commute was from the Bronx to Queens to Brooklyn, going back through Manhattan. I did pass rain gardens, and I passed street medians like this one that have green infrastructure put on it. My team is part of the process of expanding green infrastructure throughout the city as a way of catching stormwater where it falls. So we can prevent overflows into our sewer systems. We can prevent pollution from running off across our streets and sidewalks into our waterways, keep our water bodies clean, and in the process contribute to enhanced flood protection. All sounds great, right? Now, we know we're also here in New York City. Housing affordability is a huge issue. We've recently come across some studies from other cities that are finding some correlation in places where green infrastructure has been going on for longer between those programs and displacement risks and perhaps housing vulnerability. So we're wondering, well, what's going on there? And what's going on here in New York City? And how can we better understand this? So our research question is, how can DEP learn from and adapt methodologies that have been used elsewhere to look at this question of whether, how, where there's issues between green infrastructure and sustainability infrastructure more broadly, and issues with housing affordability and even displacement. Understand what those dynamics are here locally and how we could respond appropriately. So we're looking for a partner who's experienced with mixed methods, who's experienced with the diversity of methods using qualitative, quantitative, geospatial analysis, ideally someone or someones who've worked with community engaged research, participatory research. Help us understand how it is we can understand this problem. Help us understand the diversity of ways to know about this issue. And then see what it is working together that we can identify as potential methods that we could use in our team, whether they're geospatial, social assessment, other methods that we haven't thought of, where we can maybe flag risks if we need to. And think of ways where we might want to have some targeted responses, either through our own work or by reaching out with other city agencies and see how we can work together. We can offer staff time. We can definitely offer support, logistical support, research support. We have a lot of geospatial data about our green infrastructure programs that we can make available. We can make available sort of an inside look and documentation on how we go about the planning and design and siting of green infrastructure, how that's evolved over time, including deepening our community engagement in terms of planning with our cloudburst hubs. We can also provide background around stormwater regulations, including ones that have been recently introduced in 2022. So we're looking for someone who's someone or someones who are eager to work with us, help us think in new ways, maybe help us push a little out of our comfort zone and see how we can come up with some practical tools that would benefit New Yorkers, particularly people potentially in housing vulnerable situations, and also help us continuing protecting our environment through our expansion of green infrastructure. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Chelsea McDermott. I am Chief of Project Management and Online Permitting for the Bureau of Water and Sewer Operations, otherwise known as BWSO, in case you needed another acronym to learn today. BWSO is responsible for maintaining and repairing the city's water distribution and wastewater stormwater collection systems. This means all the pipes and infrastructure connected to those pipes. As you can imagine, it's pretty vast and varied throughout New York City and the 5 boroughs. But what I want to discuss today is service lines. These are the pipes that deliver water from the city's water main in the street to your home. While New York City's drinking water is delivered lead-free and consistently ranks among the highest in the nation, just ask Adam. Lead exposure may occur when water passes through privately owned lead service lines or internal plumbing in older homes. So we estimate in New York City there are about 121,000 lead or galvanized service lines that need to be replaced. And the city's approaching the EPA's lead and copper rule improvements compliance deadline of 2027. And with this, we must maintain a complete inventory of every service line and clearly document progress towards replacement of those service lines. But today, our information that we need lives in many places, ArcGIS, CRM, SQL, spreadsheets, and in turn, it's telling a sort of a different story in each of those places. And this fragmentation has created some obstacles in giving New York City the type of transparency that we are seeking to give on this issue. So our project aims to change that. We want to build a new tool with live visibility, status, with progress tracking, compliance milestones. This would serve as sort of like a unified, tool that everybody could view in one place. And it would also include more automation for our reporting. DEP has actually made really meaningful progress in accelerating lead service line replacements. Some of you may have had your lead service line replaced. You might have gotten notifications to your homes if you live in certain areas where we started this work. And so we want to be able to show, the robust service line work we've been doing. We want to be able to get residents, regulators, and sort of leadership, on board with the commitment that we have to this issue. And so to support this work, we can offer dedicated agency staff time just like anybody else, collaborating with our IT, water quality, and program management teams. What we need is a person who understands data integration, dashboard development, and operational analytics. At its core, this project is truly about clarity, accountability, Public trust, a centralized tool that strengthens coordination for us in and outside of the agency. We report to people other than New York City, like New York State DOH and EPA. And so this is kind of just, it's a high visibility project that will give a real world experience in civic tech and data integration that directly impacts New Yorkers' confidence in our public health. So with that said, thank you very much for your time. And if you're interested, I hope to collaborate with you in the future.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Giacomo De Falco, and I work as lead research engineer for the Bureau of Wastewater Treatment. So we woke up today excited to talk about municipal wastewater. Do we have anyone in the room? Oh, that's good. So I'm going to talk today about two possible projects that we would like to work on. The first one is on management and innovative solution of biosolid. So New York City DP is producing more than 100,000 dimetric tons of solid that are called biosolid. So just to understand, 100,000 dimetric tons is equal to the weight of 7 Pisa towers. That's a lot. Or almost 500 Statue of Liberty. So we have a lot of biosolids. So for this reason, the city is also implementing the Zero Organic Waste Challenge, and also there is possibility of new type of regulation that they can stop the land application of biosolid. So we are thinking about how we can use biosolid in an innovative way. So biosolid, if it's thermally treated, is possible to produce an engineered media called biochar, and biochar can be used in a lot of different applications. One of these applications that we thought about can be odor control, so for removing odors and other pollutants from air, can be used for a lot of other different usage. And so we are asking, we would like to identify potential way and the optimal processes parameter for have an application for this biosolid. So what we can offer, agency time, a lot of knowledge about biosolid, a lot of biosolids, so how much you want, and we can support with data analysis. The following possible idea, project, have everyone ever heard about PFAS? Okay, so a lot of people know about PFAS. I don't know if you know that there are two different types of methods. One is that can allow to find PFAS in wastewater. One is called target methods they can find only 40 type of PFAS. Another one, they are like no-target methods that you can see all the class of PFAS. So these PFAS are more than 15,000 human-made fluorinated organic compound, and they are used in a lot of different applications. For example, clothes or paper wrap for food or for pens. So they are almost everywhere, and they are considered extremely persistent and toxic for the environment and for people. So right now, DEP is investigating PFAS concentration and is trying to understand the fate and transport of PFAS in wastewater. And what is our challenge? That the target methods allows us only to check the 40 PFAS compared to the 15,000 that there are. And non-target methods, they also can find other type of source for organic fluorine. So, for example, pharmaceutical in wastewater. So for this reason, we are asking to develop a new type of method to try to quantify the total organic fluorine not related to PFAS, and to develop a method to better distinguish PFAS from other fluorinated compounds. So what we can do always, we have a lot of wastewater, as you know, more than 14 plants, agency time, wastewater data, and support with the data analysis. Thank you so much.